In this episode of It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room, we're going to go back to where it all began. So, stick around. Hello and welcome to It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. In this episode, like I said, we're going to go back to where it all began, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness. One of the first things I talked about in It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness role-playing game. The two episodes after that, I showed off 3 of the different supplement books. Now, I talk about the books sporadically over the course of the series at one at a time. So I thought, just as an homage to the past, I would put 3 of those reviews into one episode just like the old days. So this could be something you've already seen, or it could be something brand new if you're a new viewer. Either way, I hope you take a look with me at one of my favorite role-playing games of all time. Without further ado, let's take a look at the first review. This is Turtles Go Hollywood. It's kind of poking fun at their meteoric rise of cartoon and movies. And at this time, I think the contract was starting to end that Mirage had with Palladium Games. This is a first printing that came out in 1990. Here we go. Here's a foot soldier chucking a shuriken. Now, the art duties in this are done by Kevin Long, who is a Palladium artist, in-house artist. And I've always been a fan of his work. It's very clean, very detailed. So, what the plot is of this supplement is the Turtles uncover a plot in New York from Solo Chem. And they're making narcotics. Here we go. Here's a typical 80s looking punk selling some drugs. And they make their way to LA to try to combat the drugs. And what was that company called again? Excuse me. Solo Chem. But here we go. Here's the Turtles. Sans masks. All dressed up as tourists, ready to hit the streets of Hollywood. There's some foot soldiers getting ready to attack from underwater. One of the things this book did great was it created a gang of mutant animals. Lab Rat and the Rat Pack. Now, it's a silly name, but let's take a picture. Let's look at the picture of their group shot here. Now, we'll go over each member in detail a little bit. But you got battle here on a sound stage for a sci-fi movie. Excuse me for a second. I want to make sure I get that in the frame there. Oh, and here's a picture of White Rabbit with an M60. How 80s can you get? I know this came out in 1990, but we're still feeling the 80s. But we have Lab Rat, White Rabbit, very Mad Max-ish outfit there with the leather jock. Space Case, if I'm not mistaken, has mental powers. Yes. Space Case has a unique form of biomanipulation, Stun, which That allows her to attack multiple foes at the same time, which results in loss of attacks. Oh, I love it. These even have quotes. Let's go back to Lab Rat and see what his quote is. Oh, it doesn't have it. But it has it for Space Case. Like, oh my god, I never, noticed what a totally cool katana I have. Whew. And here is Brain Drain. Got a brain up there in a robotic body. And what animal was originally a guinea pig brain with exceptional intelligence? But we also have the return of the Shredder. Here's another cool Foot Clan photo. Hitting Donatello. But here we go. Here's another Turtles book. Got a couple more that we'll cover eventually. But for now, Turtles Go Hollywood. This time on Saving Throws, we're going to take a look at what is probably the weirdest TMNT and other Strangeness role-playing game book that ever came out. And that's saying something. I think I may have mentioned last time when I did Turtles Go Hollywood that that was pretty weird, but this takes the cake. This came out in 1989, and I believe this was probably, well, it is the last book to include the Turtles from Palladium Games. And it's Truckin' Turtles. And if you can see by that, the ninjas, well, they look like Shriners, but we'll get into that when we dive into the book. The art this time around, not the best. And I just think they didn't put their best foot forward because they knew that the license was drying up. But in this one, the Turtles go on another road trip. Now, oddly, this came out after Turtles Go Hollywood, but this would have been, in my opinion, the book that led into that, because this is about them taking a road trip. And there's a couple different locations, but the point is they go west. First off, the campaign starts with the Turtles saving a trucker from your typical 80s looking gang here. Got mohawks and weird hair. And then you go from New York to Pennsylvania. Oh, it even talks about Carlisle. It says the load chocolate chips. Now, in my opinion, they would have stopped at Hershey for something like that, but they're talking about Carlisle, PA, which is cool because I live in PA now. But it goes into, from that, setting up this part of the campaign to the trouble with ninjas. And here's your first look of the ninja with a fez, like the Shriners, which is just odd, very odd. But now this takes the cake. In one of the little Shriner cars, which honestly I haven't seen a Shriner in a parade in years, decades. But you got your stats for your typical ninja henchman, a typical goon, and then the journey goes to Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and they stop at a burger joint called Burger Heaven. And this chapter in the campaign is called Stop at Burger Heaven or Fast Food Hell. And it's a haunted burger joint. And let's see here. The entity, called the fast food burger being, is made up of packaging, cutlery, a mask of the burger mascot. But, I mean, that's pretty creepy, but it's starting to borderline be silly. And I just wonder if you had a group of writers that were taking the subject matter very seriously for many years with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and other Strangeness, and all of a sudden the cartoon comes out, the turtle cartoon, and it's silly. I mean, honestly, it is. So I wonder if the writers are like, oh crap, this is what people want, silly turtles. So they tried their hand at being silly with something that they used to take very seriously. Because, well, there's other things. I mean, the Shriners, this weird fast food ghost. Now they go to St. Louis and run into some more ninjas. And Super Mutant Joseph. He has two superhuman powers, Mimic and Extraordinary Physical Endurance. And then Carl Wilson, the leader of Cow. Now, what is Cow? I missed that earlier. Now I'm curious. Hold on a second. Excuse me, sorry. Just really curious to what that could stand for. Truck is hijacked. There's a mention of cow. K-O-W. The Knights of White. Well, it's a skinhead group, apparently, a neo-Nazi white supremacist group. Like I said, they are balancing seriousness with silliness. But anyway, here's the leader of that group, this big skinhead douche here. You gotta save this poor lady from. But then, from that, the next chapter is A Close Encounter of the Supervillain Kind. And you fight Tron, the energy alien. He has energy powers, which include energy absorption, draining, impervious to fire, heat, electricity, lasers, and similar types of energy. Can make himself glow, shoot beams of light, a contemporary blind, energy flash. Ooh, that inflicts damage. And an energy discharge. He has two minor powers of energy expulsion. Ooh, 66 damage. Nice. But anyway, here's a picture of him. And like I said, the art isn't really that great in this book. Like I said, I just don't think they were putting forth tremendous money and effort because they knew they were losing the license. Meet this new guy. It's a little pica. I guess you meet him in the Colorado area. And they give you New Mutant Animal, the Pika. And here's a bad guy one that has, whoops, more human looks. And then the final battle at the OK Corral, where you go to a ghost town and fight a robot sheriff, which there's no pictures of, unfortunately. And here's a picture of one of the turtles hitting one of the Shriner Ninja dudes. Here's a picture of them yet again. Ooh, that looks very dark. There we go. In the Game Master section, you get stats on typical ninja henchman, a typical goon, enemy vehicles, an assault helicopter. Oh my gosh. Using maps. Optional tables, traffic congestion, random traffic tables, random encounters of a hostile nature, optional crash table. Ooh, one if you roll a 1 or a 2 a 5, energy or engine on fire. Wow. Wow, these are all pretty serious. Different rules on different truck stops, cafes, tavern bars, pool halls. Non-human characters on the road. And then a page in a lot of these books that I just obsessed over. A listing of their other games. Got the pre-order info for Rifts. But this isn't anything compared to what's coming in the summer of 1990. And that's for sure, because they put a lot of stock into Rifts. That was their big thing. And I think it probably still is. It's a fun world, just a little overpowered, in my opinion. But anyway, that was a look at Truckin' Turtles. Like I said, one of the weirdest TMNT and other Strangeness role-playing game books. But anyway, I hope you're enjoying this stroll down memory lane. But let's take a commercial break.
Fresh from the sewer and into your Nintendo Entertainment System comes Ultra's version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now you can take control of these heroes in a half shell as they nunchuck, swim, and bazooka blast their way through sewers and streets, ridding the world of rival robots, wretched ruffians, and the evil Foot Clan forever. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're out of the sewers and available where Ultra games are sold.
Okay, welcome back. We're going to take a look at our last book this time around, and I hope you've enjoyed yourself. And take a look at the next book in the series, and that is Mutants Avalon. Now, unfortunately, by this time, Palladium Books had lost the rights to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, they sold this under the After the Bomb title. And yes, it can still be used with the Turtle books, but it's missing the turtles, unfortunately. And like I said, up here it says Palladium Books presents After the Bomb, Book 5. Now, they even started numbering them differently to kind of brush the Mirage Turtles out of the game system because they lost the rights to it. So let's take a look here. And the art is not as good as it was in some of the previous books. It's this very dark, almost woodblock type of style. And maybe that fits the whole Avalon background, which is in the British Isles and the United Kingdom. This is how things changed after the bombs fell and mutants and animals were mutated. So this has a medieval feel to it, mixed with post-apocalyptic elements. We can see here we have new animals right off the bat. We have British mammals like badgers, dormice, hares, hedgehog, and you have this mouse is like a nobleman here. It's good to get your mind thinking about what kind of characters to make, but like I said, I really don't dig this art style. Oh, here we got a pig with a battle axe coming in. That's pretty cool. So we have different social rankings over here. And we have nobility and serfs and things like that. We actually have new character classes you can play, like Bard, Court Attendant, Courier, Druid, Messenger Knight. And then we have new skills that kind of fit the whole medieval theme of it. Different weapon proficiencies that weren't in the other books. And you still have some modern things here, like pilot jet fighter, pilot helicopter, military submarine. That'd be interesting for a game. And we have new character origins that kind of fit the post-apocalyptic medieval setting. We have some new animal descriptions here, like the coot. It's a small black waterfowl, similar to a duck. We have a coypu here, which is a small rodent that resembles a beaver or a large water rat with an attitude problem. Got goose, a gull, like a seagull. Got your hedgehog here. Look at this newt. That guy's pretty cool. I actually dig the art style on him, except why does he have a 5 o'clock shadow if he's an amphibian? Got peacocks. Here, a slow worm. Oh, look at this Shire horse. That's a cool picture. Got a puffin up here. But what is a slow worm? Slow worms appear to be snakes, but are actually long, thin lizards who have lost their limbs through a process of evolution. They have tiny claws still just visible outside their skins. They are brown on top with a black belly. They have sharp teeth, but their bite is not poisonous. Slow worms are actually very timid and can contract their muscles so rigidly that they can be not moved or bent. That could be pretty cool for a character. Here we have a water vole. That's pretty cool. Looks like he's going to come out and bean somebody. And look at this. That just gives it a really fantasy type medieval feel. Here we got mutant slugs and snails. And these are used as mounts. Look at that. That's a very awesome picture. And other mutant insects are used as mounts. Because horses are mutated like people now. So you can't ride them. That'd be pretty weird. So next best thing is to ride insects. So we got ants, bees, butterflies, dragonflies, beetles, wasps. There's a close-up of the dude riding the snail. And look at that. Unfortunately, the snail has taken some shots. So hopefully he's okay. But this is the history of Britain after the crash, or after the bomb. Here's a map of the area. The age of steam power. And we got the kingdoms of Britain. Look at this dude. What's that movie with, I think it's Ed Harris, where they play Renaissance fair dudes on motorcycles jousting? Kind of reminds me of that. See, I'm not a fan of this. Not a fan at all. This is a pretty neat picture, though. cool. That comes from the snail picture again. This comes from the grasshopper picture. But look at this. The wastelands. You can fight things like this dude. That's awesome. Very D&D-like. We've got some normal peasants working in the field. And what is this chart? Random encounters with traveling through Britain. So different things you can run into. Like a scene of a battle. Even evil mutant band. A radiation zone. Wild insects or predators. Very cool. A druid shrine. Ooh. Always love that picture. And of course, with After the Bomb, the humans, for the most part, are against all the mutant animals. That's who the enemy faction is mostly. It's post-apocalyptic where everyone is against each other, but the humans that have survived are wanting to take their land back from all the mutant animals. So here's a cool picture of an animal getting one of the villain humans. Here's some scenarios you can play. And you got SAECSN soldier stats, which are the humans that have survived. And we got rules on playing druids. You got druid spells and knowledge. Here's write-ups on all the different spells. Herbalism, levitation, floating, shape-changing. Very cool. Got earth magic. And then we have the Game Master section, which has the Arthurian myth weaved within this game. And I have to say, it's very cool, but if I was to run a game with this, I would definitely change it, because the thing I don't like about this is they have made the Knights of the Round Table have full human looks, and I'm not a fan of that. They need to look like mutant animals, not humans. I mean, why bother? But we have different Knights of the Round here. Look at this picture. That's that pig that we saw earlier, fighting some of these humans here. But see, this is what Arthur looks like. He has full human looks with just wings, because he is a, what is he, a mutant species. He's a raven. And Guinevere is a swan with full looks as well. You got Sir Guy, who is a Labrador with full looks, but partial hands. That's odd. Sir Lancelot, who's a goshawk, all full looks. And you have your typical Knights of the Round Table, typical soldiers. Merlin, who is a human. So he survived, and he's hundreds of years old. You have Morgana, who is also a raven with full looks. Rex, who is a German shepherd. But here we go. Like, okay, I can dig that. Mordred, who has a deer's head. We got Sir Tristram. I thought it was just Tristan, but he is a red fox. Percival, who is a pheasant. And we're at the back here. We have Sir Bors, who is a squirrel. And Sir Peredur, who is a rhino. Anyway, this is just a quick little look at Mutants in Avalon. This book originally came out in, let's see here, trademark 1991. So yeah, the Turtles were long gone by this time. They were being radical and tubular in their cartoon. We had a movie released, and they were long gone from the role-playing game. So, like I said, this is just a quick look at this, and getting back to my roots, because this is where it all started. with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing game. So, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this look back with me at some of my favorite role-playing game books of all time. If you did like this episode, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them and I love getting back to everybody. And if you're new around here and you did like this, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you will be notified whenever there's a new episode. So until next time, keep being rad and stay dorky.